In a place where the sun feels strong by mid-morning and the soil dries quickly, you might not expect to see broccoli growing well. Many gardeners believe broccoli belongs only in cool climates. Yet in one small desert garden bed, several broccoli plants are standing upright. Their leaves are wide and calm. At the center of each plant, firm green heads are beginning to form. Just a few weeks earlier, these same plants looked very different. The leaves were smaller. The growth seemed slow. It almost looked like the plants were giving up. But something changed over time, without constant watering, without heavy fertilizer. The plants gradually settled in and began growing steadily. This is surprising because broccoli is known as a cool season crop. Desert gardens, on the other hand, are known for heat, bright sunlight, and dry soil. At first glance, those conditions seem completely incompatible. If your broccoli has struggled in warm climates, you are not doing anything wrong. Many gardeners experience the same confusion. They plant carefully, they water regularly, and still the plants seem unhappy. It can feel like the climate itself is the problem, but the situation is often more subtle than that. Before explaining why this happened, it helps to understand what broccoli is actually experiencing in a hot environment. Broccoli naturally prefers cooler temperatures and steady moisture. In regions with mild spring weather, the plant has time to develop strong leaves before the heat arrives. The soil stays relatively cool, and the plant can focus on building energy. In desert climates, the situation can be very different. The air warms quickly during the day, even when mornings feel comfortable. The soil may already be warming beneath the surface, and because desert soil often drains quickly, moisture does not stay near the roots for long. When broccoli senses this kind of stress, it reacts in predictable ways. Sometimes the plant grows quickly upward and produces a very small head. This is called bolting. In other cases, the plant stays small and never forms a proper center. Many gardeners see this and assume broccoli simply cannot grow in hot regions. But in many cases, the plant is not reacting to the desert itself. It is reacting to timing, soil temperature, and moisture patterns that feel unstable to the roots. When those conditions shift slightly, the plant's behavior can change as well. One of the most common mistakes gardeners make is planting broccoli when the weather already feels pleasant to them. After a long, warm season, that comfortable temperature can feel like the perfect moment to start a cool season crop. But broccoli does not measure comfort the same way people do. By the time the air feels gentle and enjoyable outside, the soil in a desert garden may still hold heat. During the day, the sun warms the surface quickly. The roots feel this warmth even when the air temperature seems moderate. This creates a hidden cycle of stress for the plant. The leaves try to grow, but the roots sense warmth. That tells the plant to hurry its life cycle. Instead of building strong, leafy growth first, the plant begins rushing toward reproduction. That is why small heads or early bolting often appear. Gardeners sometimes respond by watering more often or adding fertilizer. But the underlying issue may simply be timing. In many desert gardens, planting slightly earlier than expected allows broccoli to establish roots while the soil is still cooler. Once the roots feel stable conditions, the plant becomes much calmer. Another interesting observation appears when gardeners begin watching how sunlight moves across the garden. In the desert, sunlight is intense for many hours of the day. Yet not every part of the garden receives exactly the same exposure. Some areas receive brief periods of filtered light from nearby plants, fences, or structures. Over time, something noticeable begins to appear. Broccoli plants that receive a little afternoon shade often look more relaxed. Their leaves remain wider. Their color stays deeper green. plants that receive direct sun all day sometimes look more stressed. This does not mean broccoli should grow in full shade. The plant still needs sunlight to produce energy. But slightly softened light during the hottest hours can make a big difference. This observation leads to a new way of thinking about desert gardening. Instead of trying to fight the sun, gardeners begin learning how to guide it. A small amount of shade cloth, a nearby taller plant. Even the direction of a garden bed can influence afternoon heat. Often, these small adjustments create calmer conditions without requiring constant attention. Another factor that quietly shapes plant health is the soil itself. Desert soil behaves very differently from soil in cooler climates. It can drain quickly after watering. It can also heat up rapidly during sunny days. And in many cases, it contains less organic material. For broccoli roots, stability is important. The plant prefers soil that holds gentle moisture and remains relatively cool. When the soil dries too quickly, the roots feel unstable conditions. The plant responds by slowing growth or rushing its life cycle. One simple improvement often makes a surprising difference. Adding organic material to the soil helps it hold moisture longer and reduces sudden temperature swings. Even a layer of compost mixed into the top soil can help create a softer environment for the roots. Surface protection also plays a quiet role. When the soil surface is covered with mulch or plant material, sunlight cannot heat the ground as quickly. Moisture stays longer beneath the surface. The goal is not complicated soil science. It is simply helping the roots experience steady conditions. Once the roots feel calm, the plant begins to respond. After planting earlier and improving the soil environment slightly, something interesting often happens over the next few weeks. At first, the change is subtle. Leaves begin to grow slightly thicker. The plant looks more balanced. Instead of stretching upward quickly, it spreads outward with stronger foliage. Then the center of the plant becomes more active. Where earlier plants struggled to form a head, these new plants begin building a firm central cluster. Slowly, the familiar broccoli head begins to develop. This moment can feel surprising for gardeners who previously believed the desert climate was the main problem. The plants were not failing because they lived in the desert. They were reacting to unstable conditions earlier in their growth. Once those conditions became more balanced, the plant followed its natural pattern. Interestingly, desert gardens can also offer advantages for certain crops. While deserts are known for heat, they also provide very predictable sunlight and relatively dry air. In humid regions, broccoli sometimes faces fungal diseases that thrive in damp conditions. Dry desert air can reduce some of those problems. When soil moisture and temperature are managed carefully, broccoli plants sometimes grow with fewer disease issues. Observing the plant often reveals what it truly needs. Leaves that remain firm and slightly upright usually indicate a plant that feels comfortable. Soil that stays lightly moist beneath the surface is often enough. Growing broccoli in the desert is possible. It simply asks the gardener to pay attention. Sometimes the garden improves, not because we worked harder, but because we watched more carefully. Do less. Get more.